Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Investors Network. I'm your host, Big Lou.
I'm Candice Harris.
Tamara Mannen.
And today we are here to answer your questions about investing in real estate.
Wow. Well, first and foremost, thank everybody for staying tuned and taking a second to view us. Today's question is, what is subject to financing and how does it work?
So a subject to is when an investor takes over a mortgage for a homeowner or a seller. So if the seller is selling a house for $200,000 and they're going to foreclosure, they want to walk away with some cash, but they're not able to maintain their mortgage payments, they may do a subject to. So the investor comes in and he will give them the difference between what is owed on the mortgage, the remaining balance, and the price. So in that situation, $200,000, the investor will give $50,000 cash to the homeowner seller.
Okay.
So that way they can walk away with some cash, and then they take over their mortgage payments. And that way they're not responsible for making the mortgage payments every month. Now the mortgage stays in that homeowner's name.
Okay.
And so the benefit of that is for the homeowner, they're able to walk away with some cash and they're able to get out of a mortgage that they can't afford anymore.
Okay.
And the advantage for the investor, or one of the advantage for the investor, is that you are taking over the mortgage and you're looking, hopefully has a low interest rate. So you have a lower interest rate, and that homeowner's probably lived in that house for several years, so you have equity built into it. So that's the advantage one of the advantage for an investor to do a subject to property. And it's a quick transaction. So it's quick, and the homeowner, again, can walk away with some money. Now, there's risk at doing a subject to.
Risk.
Of course, with everything in investing, there's risk.
Creative.
One of the risks is that the investor, buyer, can stop making the mortgage payments. You're trusting this person to take on the mortgage payments, and they can stop paying the mortgage payments and can foreclose. So that's one of the risks. Another risk is the seller can file for bankruptcy. And that will affect the property. Now, the investor...
So they can take their money and kind of get out.
Right. So the investors, gave them $50,000, probably put a tenant in the home, did some renovations to the home, and then if they go into bankruptcy, it's all gone. And it's nothing you can do about it, because remember that mortgage loan is still in that owner's name. Wow. And a third risk could be, some of the lenders, you have to be careful, because some of the lenders have a due on clause, and they won't accept, far as the investor taking over the payments. So those are some of the risks, and you just have to look at the situation and make sure that both parties are on the same page. Mm-hmm. You have an investor who is well able to maintain the home, make the mortgage payments, and you have a buyer who's not in such a bad situation to where they could potentially file for bankruptcy.
Wow. And since this is the Real Estate Investors Network, you have to make sure while you're doing all these transactions that you have the right individuals on your team. Yes. And that's why we have Ms. Tamara here. That's going to go more into detail on the title side of things that involves the subject to transactions.
Yes. So my question for you is, do your company, Fidelity National Title, insure subject to deals?
The answer to your question is yes. So Fidelity National Title Houston will issue a title policy on a subject to transaction with an exception to the policy. So just like what you're talking about with the risk that are involved and the lender, what do you call it?
Due on clause.
Right. So it's like, okay, we will give you a policy, except we're not going to insure that. So if you did something wrong with the mortgage, or that's where we're like, we're out. But it does allow you to have an insurance policy. We will insure them. So,
and tell us a little bit about an insurance policy for those who are unsure, because sometimes we get people who don't want to pay insurance policy, don't see the benefit.
I think we get them all the time. Every time we get those seller disclosures, they're like, "Oh, what is this fee that I do not want to pay? I don't need insurance."
So tell us a little bit about
You
that.
need insurance. Well, one, and it's required if you're going to have a mortgage on the property. The mortgage lender who carries the largest risk is going to want title insurance. I mean, you will not be able to do a transaction. Now, if you do a cash transaction, you don't have to use the title insurance. You don't get title insurance. But what happens is the reason we have title insurance, and a lot of people don't realize what title insurance is, it ensures that the biggest and easiest, simplest way is we're the only insurance that we insure the past. So what that means is when you come to us and you say, hey, we're going to buy this property, we pull a title commitment. We pull, and that's basically, I don't want to bore you too much with all the details, but there's we pull the history of the property from the very beginning of time, anything that was recorded. And what we're looking for to make sure title is clean is we're looking for liens on the property, tax liens, mechanical liens, things of that sort. A lot of are dead people. I mean, if somebody inherited this property because their dad died and then they have it and they're like, no, it's mine. My dad, gave it to me. And then you pull a title policy or you pull a commitment and you find out there's 3 siblings. You can't do that. There's rules behind it. Again, don't want to complicate it too much. But when you're doing a cash deal and you don't do title insurance, you're risking all that.
Yes.
So what we do is we pull that commitment, take a look at everything, and if there are complications such as liens or airships and all sorts of, it can get messy, okay? Real messy. We help you guys to clear that title if it's possible. And we give opinion on just the insurance. We will insure with either this exception or we need these documents or we need that because it's in the state of Texas, it's not a legal transaction. Right. Not that's not legal. It is totally legal, but you don't have that insurance. So like say you do a cash, you don't do title insurance. Then you go to sell it and you put like $50,000 in it and you're like, oh, banking. And you put it on the market and then somebody comes in and they're like, oh, I love it. And they go get a mortgage and they have to have title insurance. Well, this person doesn't have title insurance. So we pull a title commitment. We're like, whoa. You bought a house from somebody that didn't own it.
Right.
And it happens a lot. That's why,
and you like, you're going to have to get, there's all sorts of things, especially in the investment world. It's critical because most investments are, it's an opportunity, right? There's an economic model.
Correct.
So there's situations. So title insurance.
Yes. And that's why we appreciate you guys being able to work with investors and having that experience with working with investors because, we do have different options for people. We want to help them in their situation. And sometimes you have to take different routes. It's not just the traditional way. So
right.
We really appreciate your business.
Well, at Fidelity National Houston, we are very versed on the investor world. So let me just say this, though. The investor world is a different niche market. You've got to know what you're doing. And we like to work with investors like you two who have integrity, know what they're doing, and work the transaction or educated on the transaction. We really don't work with every investor. We like to choose the investors we work with. And that's why we love you guys, because when you find an investor or even a realtor that is great to work with and has integrity and does the right thing, and it's a beautiful thing, you run after that.
You have the experience.
So yes, we're very investor friendly. We're savvy. You got to know that it is a special niche. You will come to other title companies that say, oh, we can't do that. It's not that they can't do it. They don't know how to do it.
Correct.
And at Fidelity National Title, we know how to do it. If we can't do it, you shouldn't do it.
Correct. Well, we really appreciate your time being here with us. And that wraps up our discussion for today. So thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is fun.
We appreciate you. We appreciate your business. And we appreciate your spirit. I mean, you're always so bubbly and positive.
Feeling is mutual.
And yes, so thank you so much for everything. And thank you guys for joining us. And we hope that we gave you some very important information about subject to financing. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
And remember, we're here to answer your questions, so feel free to write any questions or email us. You can find me at info@biglourealestate.com.
And Candice at info@CandiceHarris.com.
Tamara Mannen, if you have a title question or want to learn more about the title company, can I do my phone number?
Sure.
713-927-3433. And email address tamara.mannen@fnf.com. I'm going to need to spell that.
Perfect.
All right.
We'll display it. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Make sure you follow us
On our YouTube channel, the Real Estate Investors Network. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, make sure you follow us.